Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back. Today I will once again be painting my Sylvaneth Kurnoth Hunters. Last time I went over some of the process of getting the purple bark and some extra bark-like texture. And so today I'm going to be doing a couple things, including the runes, making sure they're glowing, and I'll show you on the one I've already done. Getting some glowing runes, getting a nice gradient on the leaves on its back. Those kinds of things. And then if I have time, I'll be doing some work on my Gossamed archers, making their skin look a bit more ethereal and ghosty. And then also working on the zephyr spites that live on their back. So I'm actually going to start with the glowing runes. And so what I'm going to be using is some white ink. You can kind of find this at any hobby store. Doesn't have to be a specific Games Workshop or miniature paint. And as you can see, the ink just kind of flows into the cracks, as it's a very liquidy paint, and so you kind of just have to put it near the rune and it'll flow into it. And you can kind of come in and clean up some areas that you made mistakes. And this is the base for our glowing runes, because the source of the glow, the rune itself, should be the brightest part, since it's what's emitting the light, and so that's why we're using white here. It looks lit with just the white too. Very cool. Yeah. The white ink looks very nice. And then we're also gonna come in and do the eyes. so that they have glowing eyes as well. And then he has some on the shoulder pads as well. Guy's got lots of runes on him. Are you sure you want to make him green? The white is very cool. Yeah, but I also really like the green. I think the green looks really good, and I think it better matches the aesthetic of the army. Makes the existing colors pop. Yeah. I still think I like the green better. How did you pick the green? Did you try other colors first? Yeah. I tried a light blue color first. And it's not that it was, you know, particularly bad or anything, but I think I just like the color green. So, yeah, the step after this is to come in with the airbrush, and again with the white ink, it just spritz a little bit of the white ink around the rune. And so that'll be... You weren't expecting the white to look good? Yeah. I mean, it's a... Oh my god. I broke off part of the model. Oh, I found it. Yeah, but I mean, one of the reasons that the glowing runes look good is because of how they pop off the model. With, you know, how bright they are in contrast with the you know, the rest of the colors. So yeah, the white looks good, you know, on like principle. But yeah, you can do this same technique with any color. You just start with the bright white, and that's what makes it look like it's glowing. It kind of makes the effect because of how bright it is. And then, yeah, then you can just tint it whatever color you want. Oh my god. Oh, did I drop this guy? Why are all his leaves breaking off? So yeah, I think my other Kurnoth hunters are looking alright. So it was just this guy, and I'll let him sit. I'll just be careful not to touch his back in the near future. Alright, so now I'm going to come in with the airbrush. white ink. Mix it around with the flow improver. So the goal with this is you just want to get the slightest hint of a cloud. You can see it better on the blue over here. You can see it's a very, very faint white cloud, essentially, is what we're going for. What happens if you do too much? You're gonna need to try and wipe it up pretty quickly with a brush. Because the airbrush paint has the flow improver, it takes a bit longer to dry. So you should have a little bit of time to fix your mistake, similar to how you would fix any other thing. Otherwise, you'll just have to redo the place and the effect, which sucks, but it happens sometimes. All right, the next step is actually going to be to come in and make sure that I just go right for it. Come in and make sure that you have enough of the white ink inside the rune itself. Because while we did want to brighten the area around the rune, we want to make sure that the inside of the rune is the brightest part of the effect. Whoa. All right. Looks like we're back. My camera decided it really didn't want to focus on anything for a sec, but it looks like we're okay. It got dizzy. Yeah, seems like it. Alright, and the final step is to come in with whatever color that you want to tint it. So I was looking, oh my god. I was looking for an easier way to get this light green color, because how I did it originally was I took this green and mixed it with a bunch of contrast medium. Now I think I got it by mixing these two contrast paints 50-50. It's a bit easier to do and control.
Sorry about that, just had to clean out my airbrush real quick. So yeah, I think at this point I'm gonna set these guys to the side for a little bit. Let that settle. and make sure it's fully dry before I continue working on the model. In which case, I'm going to move on to these guys. And I'm going to be doing a gradient here of, well, this is the color that's on there right now. And then I'm going to be using, some other, teal colors to build up a gradient. And I think I'm also going to need to use some of the masking putty. To make sure that each wing has its own gradient.
What's the trick with this stuff? What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I mean, so basically I'm just trying to cover the lower wing without covering the upper wing. And it's kind of difficult, because they're so close together. So that's why I'm kind of fussing with it. I just want to make sure that the upper wing is fully exposed so that I can airbrush it properly. But I want to make sure that the lower wing is fully covered. What's tricky about it and what should we avoid? Well, you want to make sure that the paint is fully dry before you apply this. Otherwise it will pull up, and ruin your work. You can also, if you're like really worried about it, apply a varnish before putting it on, to kind of protect your paint job. But this stuff is really good at not pulling up your paint, which is really nice. It kind of only sticks to itself, which is awesome, and it is quite easy to work with. So in terms of tricks and stuff, there aren't really any, and that's just because it's a good product. Now, usually it's easier to mask. Like you could see, like I spent a lot of time fussing with this set of wings because it was kind of hard to mask off because of how close it was together. But most of the time it's fairly easy to mask things off. Like I won't have that much trouble with most of the other wings. It can just occasionally be hard to mask off certain parts based on how close they are to other things. Hey G-Wiz, how's it going? I'm doing great today. Just getting some airbrushing in. I just finished doing a glowing rune effect with my airbrush. Now I'm masking off some parts, and then I'm going to be doing a gradient on these wings. So today's a kind of a airbrush heavy day, I guess. Yeah, this will be another set of wings where it'll be a little more difficult to mask off, so I might be kind of fussing with the putty for a little bit. Although the bottom of the wings will be, should stay the same color, so it might be okay if there's a little bit of masking on the lowest part of the wings. But I don't really want to like risk it, because it kind of ruins the effect if you mask off part of the wing and then. Right, the gradient looks weird because there's a random part that didn't get hit with the airbrush, and so. Although, yeah, another trick, so you can, oh man, I messed it up. So this stuff is very stretchy. So if you wanna break it apart or pull it apart, you have to pull it apart really fast. Otherwise, it'll just string out indefinitely. Do I play video games? Yeah, I do. I play quite a few video games, actually. Which ones do you play, G-Wiz? I have played a little bit of Fallout, but I haven't tried Fallout London. Yeah, I think I played Fallout New Vegas for a little bit. So, Fallout London, that's a new game? I didn't hear about its release. Normally I kind of hear about these kinds of games when they come out. Oh, it's a full game mod. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I played a modded out version of Skyrim, kind of like that, where it's just like a whole new game that people have made with all the mods that they add. That's awesome. I'll have to check it out. It's on Steam, right? It's on GOG? Okay. Sounds good. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I just finished Jedi Survivor. I was a little late to the party, mostly because everyone I talked to said it was really bad on release for PC. So I kind of waited to get the game, but I just finished it and it was pretty awesome. Can recommend if you haven't played it already. Alright, I think that'll just have to be good enough. I'll move on to the other wings. Alright, this is the last set of wings that I have to mask. Before I start working the gradient. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to be mixing up this, actually not that color, this color here. And I'm going to be starting and just kind of going along the top of the wing, leaving the very bottom this bright blue color, pale blue color. The goal is to get a nice teal gradient. And I'm gonna load up my paintbrush a little bit, because I do have to do both sides of the wings. I'm gonna load up with a little more paint than usual. All right. All right, so that's the last of the wings that I think I'm gonna do right now, because I have to wait for the paint to fully dry before I mask it off again. And you can see what I was talking about with the if you mess up the masking, it can look weird here. That's okay. I'll just have to come in and touch it up later with the airbrush. I'll probably just come in with the first blue that I used and just kind of spray it around here to help reduce the weird line in the gradient. See how the rest of my masking jobs went. Hopefully not as bad as that one. Yeah, this one was much better. And as you can see, it comes off quite easily. I messed that one up. That's okay. And they don't pull up any paint, which is awesome. So yeah, like I said, I will need to do some touch-ups with the airbrush to fix the masking issues, but all in all, that went pretty well, and I have a pretty nice gradient on these wings. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do any more with the wings today, so I want to let that stuff fully set. Airbrush stuff takes a little bit longer, and so I'm going to put that down for now. So I'm going to move on back to the Kurnoth Hunters here. And I'm going to start doing the gradient on their back leaves. Now this gradient I do with a brush instead of with the airbrush. It'd be a little too hard to mask to do it with the airbrush. I do this one by hand. It's also a good demonstration though of, you know, if you don't have an airbrush, how do you do a gradient? And the first step is to just start highlighting. But make sure that while you're highlighting, you're highlighting a little bit more than you want. Because in the end, we will be kind of glazing back with darker colors. So you want to make sure you leave room to do that glazing. But at the moment, you know, while you're, you know, just applying the highlight colors the first time, you don't really have to worry about like smooth blends or anything. You just want to make sure that you get nice smooth coats of your highlight colors. This will probably take 2 coats to get a nice solid color. That's expected. Oops. Now with the second coat, you can start to do a little bit of blending. And with that, you just want to cover slightly less area with your second coat than you did with your first coat. That way, you know, you're starting to form the transition between the two colors. Yeah, because you're with the second coat, you're making a more solid version of your highlight color, and so the small area that you didn't repaint, that you didn't paint a second coat, will just be slightly darker, and starts your gradient. You can also do the opposite if you're coming back in and you're like, I don't think I did enough of the highlight color. You can extend a little bit past your initial coat, and it'll do a similar thing where, you know, your main highlight area got 2 coats of paint, and then there's a small transition area in between that only got 1 coat of paint. We're gonna have to let that dry for a bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab a drink of water. Make sure you all stay hydrated too. And in the meantime, I do need to get my gossamids to, or I'm trying to get them to battle ready. And so I'm gonna paint up the, they have these, sometimes they have these rocks on their bases. I did not bother to be neat around the rock. I'm just gonna come in with a solid base color. Actually, I could do the gradient on them as well while I have the green paint out. They don't have as much or as many back leaves, but still gonna do the gradient. Yeah, this guy's only grown one branch of back leaves. He's just stepped up his game. And the second highlight color is the moot green. Same process as the first highlight color. You don't really have to worry about this guy's the driest. You don't have to really worry about trying to blend or anything, and you want to make sure you do a bit more than you actually want, so that when you're creating those blends later, you have room to work with. and that's the second highlight applied. These need a little bit more time to set. And I'd go back to painting some rocks on the bases. Yeah, it doesn't look like a whole lot yet. As we're kind of just slapping color on where it's needed. And the reason you do it this way is because it's very hard to blend up. So, you know, from a darker color to a lighter color. Just because of, you know, how hard it is to cover a dark color with a light color. And so you always want to blend down, which means, you know, to get these blends, you start by just slapping on your highlight colors to make sure that you have those brighter colors there, and then you can come in with the darker colors and do the blending. But the lighter colors have to be down first before you can do that. Similar idea to like the wings that I was doing earlier with the gradients. You know, why I started with the wings being, you know, that light pale blue and then coming in with the darker teal colors. Similar kind of idea. Blending down instead of trying to blend up. I'm actually gonna do a second coat of the last highlight color to get a little bit more solid color before I start blending down. You don't want all the work that you did with the blend to be ruined by a inconsistent base color. And especially since this is our brightest highlight, we want to make sure that it is in fact bright green. Make sure we get that eye-catching effect that we're looking for. Otherwise, I would just highlight this normally and not worry about the gradient. All right. So now, I'm gonna come in with a contrast paint here and slowly start to let me find a clean bubble to mix my paint in. And you want to make sure you dilute the contrast paint. The thinner the paint you're working with in this stage, the smoother the blend, but the longer it will take to get the effect. So it's kind of a balance, like how long do I want to spend on this mini against how good do I want it to look. And yeah, you just start in the brighter color and pull the paint down into the darker color across the transition line. And you should start to see the transition line disappear. Kind of like magic. But you'll also notice that I'm darkening part of the brightest highlight area, and that's why, you know, when you're painting these highlight colors, you need to make sure that you're doing more than you think you want or need, so that you have that room to play with. Alright, I'll likely have to do a second coat of this step. Just to make sure that it's at the level that I want. Now, I could do this effect everywhere. Like, you'll notice that maybe not on these models, but on the Kurnoth Hunters, they have lots of leaves coming off them. But I'm specifically not doing this effect over all the leaves. Because the effect has more punch when it's not done over the entire model. Much like how, you know, our glowing runes really pop off the model because of how much brighter they are than the rest of the colors used. Whereas if everything was highlighted up to white using bright colors, the rune effect wouldn't pop off the model as much and wouldn't be as cool. So in restricting our effect to a specific area, we can kind of increase the impact of that effect. By simply not doing it everywhere. Now, again, I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry and set before I move on, but you can kind of see the technique. I'll just be doing the same thing, except between the middle color and the dark color. So I'm gonna take, you know, the Dark Angel's green contrast paint and go over the transition between the middle highlight color and the darker base color to smooth out that transition. And the same way I did this one. And you can do more than 3 colors if you really wanted to. But I found that this is a pretty easy, like it's fairly easy to do 3 colors, and the effect looks good with 3 colors. So that's where I like to sit. I will, however, do like a point highlight by mixing Dorn Yellow into the Moot Green. So you kind of create a hybrid of the 2 colors. You can do a point highlight of that at the very tips to kind of finish off the effect, and it doesn't really require any shade, like blending or gradients, because you're just doing a little point highlight. You might have to do, you know, a little bit of touching up here or there. The main goal is just to have that harsh transition between the two colors disappear. And so there's kind of no set number of layers. You just want to kind of do it until it's gone. But you can see I'm doing, you know, somewhere between 2 and 3 layers works. You know, for the level of quality that I'm going for on these models. I know that the people that do like golden demons and such will glaze for like days. They'll take the LaCroix approach to diluting their paints. It'll be like, yes, this color, this water was once near green paint. That's how much green is in the water. But hey, they get the smoothest blends, so that's the way to go, I guess. I'm just not going to take that approach for painting a whole army. It's not necessary. Also, I need another layer of the Incubi Darkness here on these beetles. And I'll be highlighting up these beetles with the same kind of teal colors that I was using on the wings. So like Sotek green and Temple Guard blue. Just to it kind of keeps them consistent. I will eventually be painting these beetles the same, you know, kind of dark teal color, but that'll have to wait until I'm done with the wings. Because I'm not going to mask off the beetle as well. Alright, and I'm getting towards the end of my stream here. Yeah, I had a lot of fun today, and I hope you did too. I also hope that you learned something. I tried to do some more interesting techniques, maybe some stuff that's a bit more complicated you might not have known how to do, you know, between the glowing runes and the gradients. It was a bit of an airbrush heavy day, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. I will be streaming again next week. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be streaming next, but if you keep an eye on the calendar on my Twitch, I'm making sure to keep that up to date with my stream schedule. It'll probably be Thursday at the 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time slot. And I think I'll be continuing with the Sylvaneth. I need to get my army on the table. So it might not be these models though. I have some other ones I need to paint. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.